Hi, this is Gmac for the Razor Company and welcome to another shave. Today's focus, double open comb razors. Stay with me. Let's talk a little bit about double open combs. These are the wrong ones. Double open comb razors where the top cap and the base plate both have open combs. So I'm going to show you three different types of razors before we can actually get into the shave itself. And why do we shave with double open comb razors? It's quite simple. It's actually the fun factor. But let's talk first about that top cap being an open comb. So I'm going to show you my Gmac Yaki razor. This is the Yaki Beast. As you can see, if you look at the top cap, it's like got those ribs, it's an open comb. The bottom, of course, is a scalloped base plate. This is called the Beast. This is one of the smoothest, most efficient razors I've ever used. I absolutely love it. It's very different from the Knight's Helmet, which can be a bit intimidating, but this is an absolutely beautiful razor. And you know, I've had it for the longest time. It's about 3 years old. Look at the condition, and I've got it on a nice Lupo aluminum handle. Still use it, still love it. Let's talk about the second type of double open comb razors. Now this one is the closest, I would say, to the Grand Shave King self-lubricating razor from the 1940s, which had a top cap and the base plate, which had an open comb. This is the Yaki Melon. Now, as you can see, it's very similar to the Razor Rock. In fact, the Razor Rock Slock in Gmac and the Yaki Melon in Gmac are very similar. I feel for some reason that the Razor Rock Slock does tend to shave slightly different. But the stainless steel melon, and that's this one, is very, very different. This is a very efficient razor. It's a little bit more aggressive than the razor that I'm going to use. Now, if you look at the base plate, it's a flat bottom, and I'm just going to pull it apart so that you can see it. So the base plate is basically a flat bottom, but if you look at it, it has an open comb there. And the open comb is quite thick. It's not kind of, too pointy. While the top cap has those ribs that I spoke about. And if you look at it, you can see it very clearly. It's almost like a fossil of a top cap. That's how you find them, isn't it? So it's a very, very unique razor. I do love shaving with it. It still gives me great shaves all the time. Tends to be a little more aggressive than the razor that I'm going to be using, but the Yaki SS Melon, this is a really good double open comb razor. The main razor for today is going to be the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements double open comb copper Ascension, and that's the razor. Probably the prettiest razor in my den, and I absolutely love it. If you look at the top cap, it's got those ribs there. If you look at the base plate, now this is very different. It's a curved base plate, as you can see very clearly. I'm going to hold it out for you. I'm going to split it apart. Let me tell you a bit about this razor. This is solid tellurium copper, and it's rose gold plated. This has been around with me for a couple of years, and it still has maintained its look. Let's get down to looking at the razor itself. Just going to be a little careful with that washer. I lose washers all the time. So you don't have to use a washer on this razor. I just keep it to protect the look of the razor, especially with the base plate. So if I split it apart, you're going to see that the top cap still has those rib-like structure. It's that open comb. And the base plate is very, very unique. It's got that massive curve to it. And this is even more than the Grand Shave King, the original razor, had. The Grand Shave King is closer to the Razor Rock Slock or the Yaki Melon. But this is uniquely done by Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. That's the bottom. So, lovely curved base plate, nice curved top cap, double open comb. The total weight of this razor is 118 grams. And that's about 4.1 ounces. It's about 3.75 inches or 95 millimeters in length. Just got to get that washer back on. So it's a perfect kind of length for me. I do love razors that are between 85 millimeters and 95 millimeters in length. Anything above that sometimes can be a bit of a problem to handle. So this is how it actually looks. It's an absolutely fascinating razor. Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements razors come in two kinds. So one is the lower end of it, which are very affordable razors, and they're alright. They work well, they shave well, like the Prismatic. But if you had to ask me, when you move from the Prismatic to the Metaphor, which is a similar razor, almost the same, but it's a premium razor, the Phoenix premium razors are absolutely stunning. They're great performers, they're keepers. You won't notice too many people selling the premium razors. Once they buy them, they hold on to them. So let me now tell you a little bit about this razor and what makes it different. Polished, plated, and engraved in the United States of America, but I guess it's made in China. But having said that, it's an absolutely stunning razor. There's nothing wrong with it. As I said, it's the prettiest razor in my den. Now, this is called a select for a reason. If you actually loosen this, if you just loosen the top cap, say about 1/8, so just going to loosen it slightly, it's supposed to increase the aggression of the razor and increase the efficiency as well. I don't like hacking my razors, and I just wouldn't do it. So I'm just going to, basically tighten it entirely, because when it's fully tightened, it has great blade clamping. It's got no chatter at all, and the alignment is perfect. A lot of shavers, do tend to, use shims. They do tend to, hack their razors in different ways that they can. I'm just not one of those, so I'm going to stay off that. For the blade today, I'm going to be using the Elios Inoxidable. This is a blade that's made in Egypt, Swedish steel, platinum coated. It's a first time use for me, and it's going to be interesting to see how the blade performs, because I'm so very fussy about blades. I stick with, the Wizomet Super Iridium. I stick with the Gillette Platinums and the Gillette 7 o'clock Black Ninjas. I rarely venture into trying out other blades. So today is going to be a first for me, and it's going to be exciting to see how it works out. You can get the Elios Inoxidable blade at the razor company. I'm just going to show you so I've got it tightened down entirely, and that's how the blade looks, if you can have a look at it. So I've got the blade locked in nicely. Oh, does look really cool actually. So let's introduce you to the other shaving gear for today. I'm going to be going with Zingari Man Bon Monsieur. I absolutely love this soap. It's supposed to have lavender, citrus, and moss. This fragrance was put together by Manuel Cross of Row Perfumery, and one of the great things that Heather Melton of Zingari Man has done, she makes the great base, and then she gets a perfumer like Sean Malher or Manuel Cross to basically add the perfume, and it's always the winner. This is an absolutely stunning fragrance. I would probably give it about a 7.5 or 8 on 10 in terms of strength. It's supposed to have lavender, bergamot, fir balsam, geranium, oak moss, carnation, lily of the valley, cedar, patchouli, sandalwood, and musk. I'm going to break it down for you. This really smells like imperial leather with a bit more of oak moss. Let's say an imperial leather with a green touch to it. Like if you had to fuse imperial leather and maybe say green Irish tweed, something like that. Oh, it's just a very classy, very, very, very gentlemanly kind of fragrance. I do love it very much. I'm also going to be going with the aftershave or the recovery splash. That's a sample from, both are samples from Zingari Man. For the brush for today, I'm going to be going with my Semogue SOC, that's Semogue Owners Club Finest Badger. It's a 24mm knot, 53mm loft. It's about approximately, I think, if I'm not mistaken, about 81 grams, and the handle length is about 51 millimeters. I love this brush. For the bowl, it's going to be the Zingari. It's going to be the Hendrix Classics and Company lather bowl, the polished version. So I'm just going to lather up before we can actually get down to the shave itself. I'm excited about this, and if you ask me why double open comb razors, well, there's a reason for it. So let's talk about it, as we get along with the shave. Meanwhile, what has been your experience using a double open comb razor? Have you used one in the past? Do you still use one? What is your experience with Zingari, man? Are you a big fan of Heather Melton's products like I am? Let me know about it. Write it down in the comments below. Do you have any questions regarding any of the gear that is used today? You can, write that down as well in the questions in the comments below. So, Zingari Man products, the Semogue SOC Finest Badger Brush, Hendrix Classics and Company products, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements products. They're all available at the razor company. If you can't get some of them, at the end of the shave, I will let you know where you can pick them up. But first up, let's go with the first application of the lather. I always love the way that, Zingari Man's soaps do tend to perform. Always been a very big fan of the products. Once the Semogue SOC brush, gets a bit of use, it tends to perform almost like a silver tip with a bit of backbone. And, one of these days, I am going to break it down for you in terms of, what are the Badger brushes we can use, which is the one that could be right for you depending on what you like. Some, shavers do like a bit of scritch, they do like a bit of scrub. I actually don't. I prefer a brush that is kind of soft, on the face. Oh, this lather is just amazing. Just feels so good on the face. It's like laying on a nice moisturizer. Very, very interesting. So let's get down to the first pass. And you're going to ask yourself sometimes, do I have a Grail razor? Do I only stick to, Artist Club razors? Do I venture into gem razors? Well, I'd say, you should do a little bit of everything. It's always good to experiment. First pass with the Phoenix Shaving Double Open Comb Copper Ascension Select. Now remember, this razor has a tendency to just gather a bit of water, so you want to shake it off when you rinse it. Now if you notice, you don't need to put any pressure at all because it's 118 grams. Why would you want to put any pressure? The angle of the razor, you got to ride the cap a little bit so that you can actually hit that, top cap. And it's an extremely smooth shave. So what is the function of this razor? So you see that part? Now if I want to go over it, and if you do it with a normal razor, you could get a bit of skin irritation, not with this. So this is meant to be a buffing razor. All those times you have minor touch-ups and you want to do them on the spur of the moment. In fact, many experienced shavers will tell you that with a normal razor, you do not go over the same area twice. You do one pass with the grain, you do one pass against the grain, and you do one across the grain. The moment you land up doing touch-ups or buffing on that same spot, you can get skin irritation. Not with this. And that's the reason why double open comb razors really shine. Once you get used to them, once you start using them and get the hang of what they're really meant for, they're such fun razors to use. And they provide an entirely different shave delivery. You can buff as much as you want without getting skin irritation. Just make sure that your blade selection is right and that you get the angle right. Now that just glides so smoothly on the face. It almost feels like there's no blade in it. And that's only because it's at an angle. Do not use the standard shaving angle of a razor, which is about, I don't know, probably 30 degrees. You know, you don't want to go steep. You don't want to go too steep like the ones that have an inbuilt angle. You don't want to go just slightly curved. You want to actually find, and it's quite intuitive with the double open comb razors, you'll just find the angle very easy. You can get the feedback if you hear it, you know. I don't know if you could hear that, but it's very clearly audible. And I've struggled a little bit on this part of my neck of late. I don't know why. And it normally happens with most of my normal razors. And, you know, I then try and I'll end up adding a little pressure. I didn't have to do that with this one. So get the angle right with this razor, and believe you me, you'll have such a terrific, enjoyable shave with it. I used to make this huge mistake in the past of, you know, when I was shaving, of I used to try to dictate the angle of the shave to the razor. You can't do that. You always have to adjust your shaving style or your technique to the engineering or the design of the razor, and that's the real secret of, you know, getting a good shave. You can actually smell the copper a little bit, not too much. I think we're good to go with the second pass. It was fairly quick. It's all rinsed off nice and clean. That's one of the benefits that you have with double open comb razors. You know, the lather never really stays on. You can very easily get well rid of it and clean your razor. And that's really nice. My skin feels great, and credit to the soap for that. I'm gonna, you know, I think I'm gonna have a little bit, use about a teaspoon of this soap, and look at that lather. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? Absolutely love it. It's such a smooth, well, amazing feel on the face. So as I said earlier, think imperial leather with a little bit of oak moss added, and that's what you have with you know, Monsieur. It's a really fascinating fragrance. My first use with the soap, actually, to be fair. My other favorites are Zingari Man Number 1, Amir, Mousse Illumine. That's one of my top favorites. And oh, this does remind me just a tad bit of that. It probably just has to do with that oak moss and those green notes. The soap just feels so good on the face, so good. And that's when you know you've got a quality soap, and it feels good on the face. It's probably all those skin benefiting, products in there. I was going to break the soap down for you, but I'm not going to. Just remember, it's a tallow-based soap, and the next time I do a Zingari Man, I'll run you through the ingredients again. But today was all about the double open comb razor. Let's get on with our second pass. I'm going to go against the grain for this one. Remember that, no pressure, just very, very easy with the angle. Once you get the angle locked in, and this is what I would have to do on this area. I'd have to go XTG, with the razors that aren't very efficient. This is an extremely mild razor. You barely really feel the blade, but I have to say, get the angle right, because if you don't get the angle right, you probably would end up nicking yourself if you've got a very sharp blade in there. Get the angle right and it's just a smooth ride. Well, it's not just about this, but if you haven't tried a double open comb razor, sometimes on the pre-owned vintage marketplace at the razor company, you will see them for sale. If you want to pick up this particular razor, well, they're out of stock right now, but you could go to the Phoenix Shaving website and, get yourself listed for a notification. You'd probably get it from there. But you never know, the razor company might just have them in the pre-owned, or they might stock it. You do find the Razor Rock Slock very often at the razor company, and that's another fantastic shaver. I still have mine. I still love it very much. Now, there's one of the things that you can do with this razor that you can't do with a lot of other razors. It's because the lather does move, into that base plate and into the open grooves of the top cap. It leaves you with enough lather to buff, and it can hold a lot of lather. So you don't need to constantly go and clear the lather of the razor. In fact, the lather does help it to a certain extent. It does help the shave. This blade is pretty nice, actually. Elios Inoxidable. Egypt used to make some of the finest blades at one time. If I'm not mistaken, the Bolzanos used to be made probably in Egypt and then moved to Germany, or probably the other way around. This is the buffing king, really. I normally get irritation and razor burn immediately after, going over a spot too many times, but not with this. I think I just lost the angle. I'd have nicked myself there. Just a tiny one. So that was the second pass. Absolutely smooth shave. I totally enjoyed it. It was, well, so smooth when I was going against the grain. I hardly, well, felt the blade at all. Fun shave. Buffed as much as I could. Absolutely no skin irritation. My skin feels absolutely good. So, stunning. So get yourself, a double open comb razor. If you haven't ventured into getting one, go and pick up one and use it. Don't try and compare it to other razors in terms of efficiency, because they are efficient. But you got to spend a bit of time with them. And if you do spend a bit of time with them and get used to them, you'll realize that they provide a really fun shave. So, those days when you got a bit of time, you got to have a mindless shave, you got a buff to get a BBS, and you don't have to worry about razor burn or anything like that. Well, that's the time you should actually use those razors. I thought I had a nick here, but I don't. I think I just scraped it a bit. And that's because I kind of lost the angle. I went back to my angle, which out of muscle memory, which is, a normal 30 or between 30 and 40 degrees. But luckily, no nicks. Great razor, absolutely love it. I have this in my rotation. Once again, just going to recap everything for you before I can get down to the aftershave splash. Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, double open comb Ascension Select Copper. You can get it at the Phoenix Shaving website, or just wait till it appears on the pre-owned razors at the razor company, or the razor company might stock it the next time around. You never know. It's always a surprise. The blade for today was the Elios Inoxidable. It's actually a very sharp blade. I'd love to see how it performs on the second and the third use. Today was my first use with it. I really like the blade. Also available at the razor company, and so are the Zingari Man products. I went with the Monsieur shaving soap, and there you see Rogue down there, because Manuel Cross of Rogue Perfumery has done the fragrance for that. The bowl for today was the Hendrix Classics and Company stainless steel lather bowl. I used the Semogue made in Portugal Butterscotch handle finest badger. I absolutely love that brush. It's a great performing brush. And I'm going to go with, of course, the aftershave. This is a Zingari Man Recovery Splash. It's the first time I'm using this. It was the first time I was using Rogue as well. Nice milky liquid. Going to give it about 7 pumps. I think that should do it. Zingari Recovery Splash. If you have razor burn, it's great. I don't have any razor burn at all today. I have no irritation, as I said. Nothing. It just feels great. But let me give you one little bit of a difference that I did find. Now, the shaving soap smells absolutely stunning. The Recovery Splash has a bit of a coconut kind of... It's not that I don't like it, but it smells a bit different from the soap, and that coconut note, I think, comes from... It's got cocoa, capriate or something like that inside it, which, if I'm not mistaken, is an emollient that is derived from coconut oil, and maybe that's the reason why you get that coconutty kind of smell coming out of it. But I do like it. It almost smells a bit like coconut milk. But really enjoyed that shave. I love double open comb razors. Go and get yourself one. As I did mention, most of the products available at the razor company. It's time for me, Gmac, to shut shop and ship out of here. And on behalf of the razor company, to say bye-bye for now. I will catch you again with another shave real soon. Until then, I wish you happy shaves.